So this is your first venture into writing?
Yeah, I've done everything else in this business. Actor, stage manager, producer, director, everything else, but I never wrote a book.
So what made you write a book? Was it like a buddy or it just came out of you?
I used to tell all these stories. These are funny stories. I used to tell them in parties to family and friends, and everybody kept saying, you should write them down for posterity. And when I got trapped in the pandemic in my apartment, I said, nothing else to do. I might as well try to do it. And I started doing it. All of a sudden, I realized I got a book. How do you go like that? I got a book here.
And, out of all the stories that you've told, who is one of your favorite characters that you've met in your life?
It's hard to tell because I met so many, from Katharine Hepburn all the way up to James Gandolfini and Marilyn Monroe and you name them. They're in this book. There must be 80 famous people in this book, and I tell wonderful anecdotes about them. So it's really a pleasure to read it.
Now, you've been in the business for a long, long time. Do you remember your first break? And how important was that to your career?
I started out as a stage manager out of college. And I did my first job was on Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, which was a musical with Carol Channing. And I did 40 shows on Broadway as a producer, stage manager, and director. And then I went to California and became an actor. When I was getting ready to go on Social Security, I became an actor.
What? So it's never too late. It's never too late to get involved in the business, huh?
You said it. The phone rings. It's a pleasure to get going.
So you're writing this book. And what should the audience expect? Anecdotes, good stories, a good read. What else can they expect?
You're going to get big laughs on every anecdote. I think there's a laugh on every page, as a matter of fact. I mean, you're going to meet a lot of interesting people in a relaxed atmosphere, out of the spotlight, behind the scenes.
Now, you try to tell stories, but you always try to tell all the good ones, right? All the positive stories. Was it hard for you to just, to leave some stories out?
There was only one story I left out about an actor that I didn't get along with. No sense going over old stories. So I left them out of the book. Everybody else is in there.
Everyone else is in there. Who do you feel is like the most famous of the people that you've met, or you told a story about?
President Kennedy.
What?
Marilyn Monroe. Katharine Hepburn. Woody Allen. James Gandolfini. The Sopranos. It goes from My Fair Lady on Broadway to just past The Sopranos into a show called Good Wife. It became Good Wife. Yeah, became Good Fight after that.
The title of the book again?
The name of the book is Too Funny for Words.
Too funny.
And I hope it is.
You still acting? Are you still out there, or are you really retired, semi-retired?
Well, I'm 95, and I think I've done enough damage.
Oh wow! But if the phone calls, if the phone call comes through, I seriously doubt you're not going to pick up.
Say that again?
If someone calls, I seriously doubt you will not pick up.
If the phone rings, I'm ready to go. I But I don't think we think anybody's going to call a 95-year-old codger. I don't think the insurance company would do it.
Wow. And the book is coming out. You got your most accomplishment. What is it in your career? What do you consider your biggest accomplishment?
Well, the strange thing was going from working in the dark as a stage manager. I call it working in the dark because you're backstage and nobody ever sees the guy who works backstage. And then making the transition into the limelight, becoming an actor that everybody knows, and giving autographs, and greeting people. That change is very strange and very interesting, and I kind of love it.
As an actor, what was your biggest role, and what character did you enjoy the most?
The best one was, of course, was Hesh on The Sopranos. I got that part while I was in the hospital.
What?
The phone rang. It was David Chase. I was lying in the hospital. I had an appendix thing. And he called me and said he was we had worked together on an episode of Northern Exposure that he wrote. And he was doing a pilot. And there was a kind of a cameo role on the pilot. Would I be interested in doing it for him? And, of course, I agreed because we were old friends. And I said, I'd be glad to do it, but I got one problem. Of course, he called it The Sopranos. I said, I don't sing. I thought it was a musical.
He thought it was a musical. That's great. So since The Sopranos, how have you navigated your career after The Sopranos? I think that was a really big break for you, or a big role. Was it different after that role, or was acting the same?
It was kind of the end of my career because I did almost 9 years on that thing. I was in my late 70s when that ended, so I was kind of at the end of a career. From there, I went into a show called Rescue Me with, and then one called Good Wife, The Good Wife.
Mm-hmm.
So I did a couple of episodic things after that. That became the pandemic. I haven't worked much after that.
Oh, so you went out with a bang then with The Sopranos.
So what?
You went out with a bang with The Sopranos then.
It was pretty well. But The Good Wife was a big hit show. I was on that for 3 years. That was a big hit show on CBS. Yeah. I would call that a hit.
Okay. All right. So,
I like it.
So have you ever thought about going back to theater, or did you ever have a yearning to go back to the stage?
Well, recently I went back. I got a job with Larry David, was doing a play on Broadway, and he wanted me to do a small part of it. And of course, I went back to Broadway as an actor. It was very unusual. I was in my late 70s at that time. I'm an old codger. I act, I'm busy. I keep busy. Up until I was 92 was my last job.
Wow. So for these young people, you really truly never retire. I mean, as long as you have an itch for something, you're always on the scene.
Never give up. Never say no.
Thank you so much for your time, sir.
It's been very, very good fun, and you're going to enjoy this book. If you want a few laughs, what the world needs is a few laughs, and I think it delivers it.
Very good. Thank you. Look forward to reading it. You have a great day.
Thank you.